Well, everyone out there listening or watching, you are listening or watching the Soulful Cream Podcast. And I am your host, Cream Diggler. And today we have a special guest, and I'm going to introduce him like so before I tell y'all his name. I want to say he is a bodybuilder, trainer, musician, doctor, professor, leader, entrepreneur, and with all due respect to both of our partners, super sexy. Ladies and gentlemen, and those in between, or those of you on the outside of the other side, let's welcome Dr. Nick to the show. Hey, Nick, welcome.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Oh, it is my pleasure to have you. How are you doing over there today?
I'm doing all right, man. Doing all right. Another day. Can't complain.
Oh, well, hey, I'm glad you're here. And I just want to thank you for being a part of this episode because I wanted to do I guess, a series of episodes on different topics. And you're here to talk about, I'm doing this body yaddy yaddy segment. And so I talked to someone who lost weight, mostly due to he had diabetes and he had to make a change to his life that way. I think he basically went keto. And so we're here to talk with Nick today, you all, about his body transformation and his fitness journey, I guess, if you will. And so, what I want to do is get into a couple of photos first, and just to kind of set things up. So, am I in order? I guess this is the first one. Well, Nick has a brand called Savage Libra Fitness, and we're going to talk about that more in a second. And if you're watching, you can see the picture. If you're listening, we'll give you the website later at the end of the episode. But I have a picture up for those of you who are not watching. There's a picture here of Nick who, for most people I know, he could get it, in this picture. He looking thick, got a belly on him, you know, uh, you know, very, very solid, looking real solid in this picture. But how are you feeling about yourself in this picture at this time?
Honestly, I was young, just getting into, my career path really well. And it was one of those things to where the career that I had, I was not able to really eat like I should have. And
Mm-hmm.
so I ate a lot of junk food. And so I put on a good bit of weight. You know, prior to when that picture was taken. So, I had to do something, but that was the result of that. The
Okay.
little belly and, the chest coming through and everything. So it's like, hey,
So, I mean, you go to the right event. I mean, that's daddy material right there. Like what? But I hear you. I hear you. So now I'm going to the next slide here that I have. So that orange picture, you were at 265,
yeah.
and then just 10 pounds later in the green here, you looking swole already. Uh, and then so talk to me about this transformation. Then we got some pictures of you because you decided to. Well, I don't want to get ahead of myself. At this point, had you decided to do bodybuilding at this point when you got down to 255?
At the 255, yes. So I think, yeah, if you look at the shirt that I'm wearing, for those of you who are watching it, it's my coach, who's Kevin Tabb up in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Mm-hmm.
He has a fitness brand called Be Relentless, and so I got one of the shirts from him, and well, several, and I use those as workout shirts a lot of times. So yeah, I had already started the bodybuilding journey because when I met him, that's when I determined that's what I wanted to do. But yeah, it was just a matter of rethinking how I ate and
Mm-hmm.
what I ate, and then changing up the way that I had gone to the gym because I would go to like a gym at
Mm-hmm.
during the time you saw me in that orange polo. I was going to a gym maybe like 3-4 times a week, but I was just in there minimally doing, the basics just to kind of go in there and stay active, kind of to say I went, so to
Right.
speak. But then, as I started like working out more and figuring out what things to do and how to train, the weight started redistributing. So, it's only a 10-pound difference, but my back fills out more, my legs got a little thicker, stomach got flatter, thankfully, and
Mhm.
the shoulders rounded out a bit more. So, it just kind of redistributed itself.
Now, were you working with his name is Kevin?
Hmm.
Now, did because you live in California, Kevin lives in Pittsburgh. Were y'all doing virtual trainings?
At first, no. So I met him when I had taken a trip to Las Vegas,
Hmm.
and he was in Vegas with his family at the time, kind of like as a getaway trip to Vegas. And so we just kind of met up with each other there
Hmm.
and got in a few workouts together. And then that's when the whole conversation happened. And he was like, I can train you from a distance if that's something, but you're gonna have to have the discipline to see it through.
Mm.
And I was like, yeah, okay, I can do that.
Now,
And
sorry, go ahead, finish your statement.
no, no, that was it. Just having the discipline to do it.
Have you have you vacillated through your journey with fitness, like, or have you always been pretty much on it? When you decide to do it, you do it, and it's been, or like, have you had a battle of the bulge, or like, what's been your fitness journey?
Um, I really haven't vacillated. So I decided I wanted to do something, um, I guess self health wise, or something that would be, something I could enjoy, like around, middle 2019. And so I was
Hmm.
like, I need a hobby other than just, going to work and teaching and doing my conducting thing throughout. Um, and so I literally flipped a coin because I had just gotten back from Fiji not too long ago and Sydney. And so I went to Fiji and I was able to catch like a rugby match over
Hmm.
there. And it was amazing. It's like, okay, this is really cool. And then I found out that there was like this whole rugby league in Southern California. And I was like, you know
Okay.
what, that might be something I want to get into. But then I was like, that's actually really dangerous too, because like one wrong move and like that's it. But at that point, I kind of didn't care about it. And then I said, well, I do go to the gym a lot, so I can either go and train for rugby or I can go and train and be a bodybuilder. One of those is probably a lot less dangerous than the other. So I just threw caution when I flipped a coin.
Mm.
And I remember because I was like, okay, heads is the rugby team, tails is bodybuilding. And so it landed
Wow.
on tails. And I was like, okay, well, let's go.
And have you been pretty much straight through the whole time, like with with
Yeah.
with your with it? Uh,
Yeah. So, thankfully I was in you know, uh, band in high school and college, and I started my university experience at a HBCU, so they're very, disciplined
mhm.
about their band and everything. So it just kind of built that mindset. So whenever I put my mind to focus on doing something, then it's going.
All right. Well, I want to go back to these pictures for a second. Let me see if I can if I can do that. Okay, here we go. All right. So you're at 255 here. How long
uh
did it take you to get to 216?
that took 10 weeks.
10 weeks.
10 weeks,
That
and
sounds like so fast.
it does. And I'll let you in on a secret there. So I actually was 260. I had actually gotten back up to 262 before I started to trim down to the show. So that was that 216 picture is from the first show I did in 2020. So
Hmm.
if you notice, it's outside. You can see like the
Hmm.
trees and everything in the background. Because of
Uh-huh.
COVID, we couldn't have the show tradition like inside like it
Oh,
traditionally would be. And
okay.
so everything was outside. And that show was at Lake Tahoe in California, like Northern California. And so it
Wow.
was super cold that morning. Like it was
Uh-huh.
cold that morning. So I'm outside literally with nothing but just poses on and a tan and going through these poses and smiling while I'm doing it. But it is
Right.
super cold out there the entire time. But the way bodybuilding works as far as those shows are concerned is that everybody's in a division of some kind. So and
Hmm.
it's based on weight.
Hmm.
So if you are between this weight and that weight, then you're considered in this class. So my class is a heavyweight, and that falls between, I think, 205 and 225. So
Hmm.
anything above 225 pounds puts you into super heavyweight status, which is
Okay.
like the, I call them the monsters of the group because they're
Like
usually
the
like a
Arnold
lot
Classic
taller.
kind of
They're usually
people.
like a lot taller, and those guys are like huge. So it's like, I stay in heavyweight range. That's a good range for me, things of that sort. And if over time, I happen to kind of ease my way into super heavyweight, then fine. But right now, it's just I kind of stay in that heavyweight range. So my goal was to go from wherever I was to somewhere under 225 pounds, wherever
Okay.
that was. And when I stepped on stage and weighed that day, I was at 216.
Wow.
So
Now, so here's a couple pictures. I think this one is a nice thirst trap there that we got for the people. Um, so when you are in this, I guess this seems really difficult for someone like myself who has had a love hate relationship with fitness. Period. Where do you get your focus, um your consistency? Because I know that's the answer, right? Like
mhm.
it's being consistent. Where do you get your consistency from? And I'm
you
going to
gotta
respect.
have, yeah, you gotta have fun with it. You got to have fun with it. You got to make sure that you're doing it for you, and you just got to you got to find ways to make it work. And the thing for me is I enjoy seeing the change happen. Like you can see the change happen in your body, like if
Mhm.
you are consistent and do it, long enough. And it's gotten so to the point now to where it's like you have two different I've got two different wardrobes.
Mm.
So I'll have a wardrobe for when I'm in season or like in competition season or what we call prep mode,
Mhm.
where I'm getting ready for a show. And that's when I'm at, my leanest and smallest, and
Mhm.
everything fits like, you know, as if I'm wearing size large
Wow.
sometimes, and things of that sort. And the extra large like looks kind of hanging on me. And
Mhm.
then I have the weight where it's kind of like off season, where I'm anywhere between 250 to 275, and then I
Mhm.
have that weight. So I think the pictures that you just put up,
Uh-huh.
um,
Go back
were off
here.
season from the show I did in Utah, which was when I qualified to compete for my pro card. And then the one in the middle is when I went to compete for my pro card in Anaheim this last November. And
Okay.
so the picture surrounding it, I was 265, I think, anywhere between 265 and 270.
Mhm.
But then it's like it's more so like just trying to build the mass and then shred it down. So
Mhm.
I'm never at a point to where it's just kind of like it's not a sloppy build, but
Right.
265, 270. I mean, that's what I look like,
Mhm.
265, 270.
Man,
Um,
if I
and
was looking
then
like that, I'd be sitting down. I'd be done. I'm not doing nothing else. I'm good. I'm good to go.
and then yeah, and that center photo on stage, I was actually 221. So I that was actually 5 pounds heavier than the very first show that I did. So I've
Mm.
actually gained muscle mass over the years, which is good. But
Mhm.
now the goal is to peel that down even more, and to build on problem areas, because they always try and get critiques from the judges after these things to see
Sure.
like what do I need to work on for the next one. And so that's
Sure.
what I go for.
Mhm.
And you just have fun
Now,
with it.
man, so what is your advice for someone who's going like, hey, I think this is real difficult and I might would like to do it, but I'm not sure how to get started? Because I know you're also a trainer, and
Mhm.
y'all can find him online if you want to get trained by Nick. He does do that, and talk about the website towards the end of the episode. But do you have some general advice for people?
Yeah. So when I was getting into it, the weightlifting part, like having the routine, get a trainer for you for that, because you know it's going to get to a point to where you're kind of falling into a comfort zone of doing what you're used to doing. And so
Mm,
sometimes you need to be able to tweak things. And then with weightlifting, if you're trying to sculpt and look a certain way, or if you're trying to be like hot boy summer ready or hot girl summer ready, then there are certain things that you need to do exercise wise. But
mm,
then there's also the cardio aspect of things.
mm,
And one of the best things I like to tell people is that if you have to do cardio for a while, find something that like get you a Netflix account or Disney Plus or something, and find a show you want to binge, and that
mhm,
cardio goes by fast. I think
mm.
I think my last show I binged, Raising was it Raising Dion, and um what was that other show? It was Raising Dion and The Good Doctor on Hulu. Like I binged those shows because I would do an hour of cardio in the morning and then an hour of cardio after weights in the evening. And it's
Damn.
usually like if you on, but it goes by so fast because if you on like a treadmill, if you're on a bike or you're on
Uh-huh.
stairs and you watching a show that you into,
Mhm.
then by the time the episode's done, it's like, oh, you only
True.
got 10 more minutes left. Let me go ahead and just finish this up, and you're done. That's it.
And this is you going to the gym. This is not you doing it at the house, or
No,
is
no,
it?
no, no, no,
Oh,
no.
okay. All right.
So just
So
go to the gym. Yeah.
go to the gym and do it. No, no excuse. I guess as people say no excuses, but what about people who do make, make excuses?
I
Because
tell the
people are making excuses.
I tell them like the best thing to do, if you can get to the parking lot, you like won half the battle. Like
Mm,
all you got to do is get yourself to the parking lot, because then you'd be like, okay, I'm already here. Like, damn, okay, let me go ahead and get it in. Just don't make the excuse at the house. Like, go ahead and get
mm,
yourself together, get in the car, go to the gym, and then once you get to the parking lot, you already there. If you can just make it to
gotcha.
the parking lot, because I tell you, there are some days, like especially if work gets in the way, because this isn't like my full time job.
Right.
If something happens at work, or if I'm traveling and I get back super late, and then I get us like, oh man, I got to get to the gym by like 7:30 in the morning. And I was just like, that means I got to wake up at like 6:45. I'm like, I don't feel like getting up, blah, 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 blah. I can sleep in. But I was like,
Right.
no, let me just make it. Let me just get there. So, I throw on my gym clothes, grab my bag, and get in the car. And then once I'm in the parking lot, I'm like, okay, I'm here. Might as well go on in and get it done. And, you in the mood. I don't feel like talking to nobody. Girl
Right.
at the front desk, like, have a good workout. I'm like, yeah, okay. Like,
Yeah.
but
Right.
you go in there and get what you need to get done, and then go home and then shower up and get ready for the workday. So
So that's what I was gonna ask you. How does this affect your normal life? Like it's I guess what's your philosophy for making it a part of your life? You know what I mean? Because I know sometimes when I'm trying to, it just feels like it's a whole interruption. you know.
nah, I mean, you everyone has work going on, and that's the thing. But you also have to have a balance too. And I've seen it with current positions. I've seen it with previous positions that I've had. Like if someone, I mean, your health is wealth. You hear people say it all the time, and it's just like if something happens to you and you get sick from your health or whatever, or you get diagnosed with diabetes, or you get high blood pressure and have a stroke or something, then
Yeah.
it's like you working, but then they're going to replace you probably the next day or two
Right.
days from now, and you at home like still trying to
Right.
recover from
Yeah. It's
from
true.
whatever happened. And
It's true.
so it's just like you got to find a balance just for anything, just like with your work, with your relationships, with
Mm,
your health. You got to find a balance. And again, I've made it a fun thing. So I go to work, I have my work bag with me, and then I'll have my food bag.
mm-hmm.
And I have my meals already prepped and ready to go. I have my seasonings. My colleagues have even started like ribbing me, because they're like, I'll bring food to the job, and then I'll bring my own seasoning with the food. I'll bring my own seasoning with the food, or I'll have like my water bottle with me. So it's like they already know. They know that I'm a competitive bodybuilder. They know I compete. They know that's a thing. And even my
Hmm.
students know it. They're like, man, it has gotten to the point now to where, I mean, it's all in good fun. I'll go out and work with a group somewhere, and one of the students, it never fails. One of the students will always ask me, so what's your workout routine? And I just hang my head and laugh like, oh my gosh. And it's like it's crazy because it's a good fun thing. And when I go there, I try to wear like a suit to try and cover things, but
uh,
apparently it's like outlined.
yeah,
And
you
so
can't hide
okay,
that.
I'm like, okay, it is what it is. So it
Yeah.
is what it is. But the thing is that it's something that I enjoy doing. Um, I have a good support system for it. My fiance is very supportive of everything, and he's been supportive from the jump.
Yeah, I'm gonna
So
ask you about
yeah.
that. Like how does that how has that incorporated into your relationship? What kind of sacrifices have you had to make, if at all, or if
No.
any,
Okay.
if any? uh, uh,
Um, yeah, I don't no sacrifices here. He hasn't complained, so
okay, because what I'm imagining is like, so you spending all this time at the gym and at work, then you're not at home, right? So
oh,
like, that's what I'm thinking. I
oh,
mean,
no, no, no. So,
uh,
like, I make sure that I'm up early,
mhm.
so I go whenever he's at work, and
Okay, because
then
okay, so okay.
yeah, so when he's at work, I'm there, and then whenever I get back, usually I'll go, like, right after I get off, so when I get
Oh,
home, like, I'm home. Or,
gotcha.
you know there's a rest day that's involved, or the gyms that I go to, they're all 24 hours.
Mhm.
So if I want to, come home and spend some time, do like a movie night or something, that's cool. He has to go to bed and get up for work. I'll go to the gym and then come back. So,
Yeah,
it works. There's a balance there as well, but he's been really supportive of everything. Like and you've got to be, especially doing this type of sport.
yeah,
I have to get before I get ready for these shows, like I have to be, shaved everywhere. And it's
yeah.
like you need somebody to help you with that. Like, I will say that, my fiance is a much better cook than I am. So,
Uh-huh,
don't get me wrong, I don't miss any meals, but as far
right,
as if you're looking for someone to cook for taste, then you
right.
probably don't want me in the kitchen. I will
No,
cook for function.
okay, so
Yeah.
I got 2 questions then, that I wanna talk about meals, and I wanna talk about working out after work. Because working out
Okay.
after work for me, I'm just like, ugh, the worst idea ever. I like it's like the gym is crowded because if I'm getting off around 5-ish,
Okay.
5:30, the gym is its most crowded at that time. And so usually that's my excuse for not doing it. Like I'm like, I'd rather go
Okay.
home because I think I work closer to the gym and live further away from the gym. So it's actually takes I'm probably adding a whole 30 minutes because I'm doing that, like going back and forth, right?
Okay.
Am I being unreasonable, or am I okay? Like, am I? Because my partner's like, you should just go after work. Like, just go after work. Why are you like? And I'm just like, ugh, I don't think so. But am I being a little bitch about it? What do you think?
Um, I wouldn't say that, but I would probably say it probably is best if you try to go after work, just
Okay,
because it gives you less room for the excuse factor. And then, just depend on what you work in that day, it may not be crowded. Like for example, I would tell you right now, if I go to the gym on a Monday, I never work chest on a Monday
mm,
because Monday is always chest day for literally everybody else. So if I
okay,
go in the gym, all the bench press machines, the chest machines, they're all being used. But thing is, nobody's using the squat machines.
mm,
Nobody's using the arm and shoulder machines. So I'll work one of those groups on those days. And
okay.
then, like on Wednesday or Tuesday, when everybody's doing, the other body parts, that's when I'll hit chest
Ah,
and other
okay.
things. So it's just like you just got to
Mhm.
go in and work what's able for you to do on that day.
Okay.
And everything ain't full. And what I like to do is that if it's too busy,
Uh-huh.
usually if you go to somebody that's on a machine and say, hey, can I work in with you,
Uh-huh.
9 times out of 10 they will you can alternate and work in because they
Right.
recognize it's busy too. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I mean, you might have that one asshole that's like, nah, I do mine, blah 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 blah. It's like, but
Right.
that's few and far between. But like most of the
Sure.
time people will be like, yeah, come on in and work it, come on in.
Mhm.
So
Okay. So now the food prep thing. Now
okay.
when you do that, what exactly are you doing Sunday night?
Think go ahead.
So what are you doing when you meal prep? How many days are you cooking for?
So I have a cheat code for that. When I first started, I was doing like the Sunday Wednesday thing. So I would like cook my meals Sunday for Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and then Wednesday I would cook them from Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then I would just do that through and through. But then that's during the summer when I'm not teaching. That's
Mhm.
also there's time involved in that, and it gives you a little bit more intimate feel for the food. But now I've found food prep companies and
Mm.
that can make my meals and deliver them to my house, to my specifications. And so I may legitimately cook 3 times a week, and it's usually breakfast. So I'll do like egg whites and cream of rice in the morning, or I might do like a shake in the morning.
Mhm.
But then for my other meals throughout the day, like my 4, 5 solid meals throughout the day, it's pre-done. So it's like
Gotcha.
grilled shrimp and broccoli, or steak and asparagus, chicken and asparagus,
You can just pop her in the mic.
whatever. I
Oh,
just pop it in the microwave for 4 minutes, let it sit for a minute afterwards, and then peel the plastic off, and it's done. And it gives me like everything I need right there. And there's a
okay.
lot of meal strips for that. I mean, as you get busier, if and the thing is, they're comparable. So if you're eating like 4 to 5 times a day and
Mhm.
you're meal prepping, then by the
Mhm.
time you go to a grocery store, even like to a Sam's or to a Costco, in
You were
three
spending some
days,
money.
you're
Yeah.
gonna spend like $150 just for those three
Right.
days.
Yeah.
And then you do that twice a week. But you've got meal prep companies that'll give you, your meals for that week for like 180, $190. So you're saving money on groceries. You're saving money on the temptation of going through like a drive through somewhere, like, oh, I didn't cook or meal prep today, so let me spend like $13 on this number two from Wendy's. And that adds up over time. That's like
Right.
that's not really conducive to what you're trying to do. So
Yeah, that is so true. Okay, all right. Well, you laid it out all for real
I'm
for
gonna
us.
say, I'm gonna say, I like, and you see it a lot of times with even with professional bodybuilders, like they'll meal prep, but then some of them do use, food preparation services, because again, unless you're unless you're in the top 20 bodybuilders in the United States, like the ones that compete on stage at Mr. Olympia, bodybuilding is probably not your full-time job. I
Right.
mean, you look at people like Ronnie Coleman, who co-holds the record for number of times he won Mr. Olympia with Lee Haney. He was a
Mhm.
police officer while
Oh,
he was like a full-time police officer in Texas, while he was, going out and winning and training for Mr. Olympia.
oh,
So yeah, so I mean, it's not a full-time job by any means, but it's a balance. It's a balance.
this is a random question. I've thought about going with a couple of friends to some bodybuilding contests just to ogle. Honestly. And when I was single, I thought about going thinking, oh, maybe I'll find a bodybuilder man who likes fat guys. And, surely he may be out there. Look, I don't know, maybe he'd be out there. But but so now it would be just to ogle. Is there a clear gay contingent at the bodybuilding contest that you've been to?
There is a I will say there is a gay contingent. As far as it being clear, no.
No.
So, like, yeah. So, I mean, I do know of people, like there were people in the last competition that I competed against who or competed with, that weren't in my category, who are, part of the LGBTQ community.
Hmm.
But we don't wear it on our sleeve.
Sure, sure.
And then I do know bodybuilders, but they tend to be the younger ones coming up that have,
Mhm.
like the Gen Z bodybuilders.
Yeah.
Like I saw one bodybuilder compete at a show in Texas, and his posing routine music was Montero by Lil Nas X, and he had like multicolored hair, and the piercing
Oh
and
yeah.
everything. And so it's just like, okay, so I mean, it
Mhm.
is what it is. But the thing is that he was undeniable. He took second place.
Oh wow. Okay.
So it's like, if you've got the physique for it, then be damned, all that. So
Right.
it's
What
just a
about in
matter
the
of you getting up
audience?
there.
What about
Um,
are the girls out in the audience? Oh my god. I don't know.
no, it's actually like it's a lot of basically like hooping and hollering. Like you can tell people who come out to support, it's a lot of support there. So, if you come out and you have like a group of people with you who are there to support you, you hear them. And if you have a particularly good physique, other people in the audience will hype you up.
Hmm.
But it's not like, the cheering, fangirls or screaming or anything like that. It's mostly just like, yeah, that's right. You better do that. Like all that stuff. It's yeah, it's a different vibe. It's a whole
Okay.
different vibe,
All right.
but it's pretty cool.
I got a couple of more. I'm see where is it? I got some more slides I want to get through here. Okay.
Okay.
So this is you and Kevin right here.
Uh-huh.
Kevin in the black shirt.
Yep.
And where are y'all at here in this picture?
That is at the Planet Fitness in Las Vegas. And so I will give you a try and guess his age.
Let me see if I can get a little bit bigger. I'm gonna put him like 45. Yeah, like 45.
Okay. So add 8 to that.
Really? He
Yeah.
over 50.
Yes. And so he's over 50 and a lot stronger and larger than I am, like currently or back then.
Wow.
So yeah, and he was a former Mr. Pittsburgh himself
Oh wow.
when he was in his 20s, like early 20s, late 20s competing. So yeah, so he's a real cool guy, real cool guy.
And then up top here, we got you with some looks like some military bros up here. What's this
Um
picture up here?
yeah, not military definitely, but this is this was from a powerlifting meet. And so again, these are there are ways that you can use, your bodybuilding, career for other money making opportunities. I always like to go back and quote that movie from what is it? The use what you got to get what you want.
Yeah. Yeah.
That whole thing. So it's they needed a spotter for powerlifting. I don't know if you've ever seen a powerlifting meet on like social media or TikTok,
Yeah,
and they're
yeah.
lifting these insane amounts of weight, like, but they only do it one time, and they get it. So when they lift it, there are these 3 dots on a big TV screen, and if they all flash white, that means it was a successful lift. And
Mm,
if or 2 of the 3 of them have to flash white for it to be successful. And
okay.
then if most of them or all of them flash red, then it didn't count.
Mm,
So they're all looking for like those white dots on the screen. So they need spotters for that event. So these people are lifting, like these people are bench pressing like 500, 600, 700 pounds. And so me and those 2 other guys over there, Luis and Ray, like we were pretty much making sure people didn't die that day. Like I saved a couple like I saved a couple of lives. Like
wow.
people were like squatting weight, and then it's like you see them
Yeesh.
go down. Like you see them go down with all this weight, and the bar is like literally bending.
Mm,
And like I'm on one side, like getting like making sure the weight doesn't collapse, but I can't touch it. But I just have
uh,
to keep my hand steady under it to
right.
grab it in case like it happens. And
Right.
then like Ray's on the other side, Luis is like behind the person because if they like lock up, they could potentially pass out. So someone's got to be
Shit.
behind them to catch
Yeah.
them. And
Oh,
so
wow.
literally we were just like saving lives left and right because when people, fail at the lifts and they get ready to drop the weight, someone's got to catch it. So
Right.
and so
Damn.
that was a workout in and of itself. I remember I was like sweating buckets, and those things passed like go over like 2 days.
Woo.
So we had like one class of people the first day, and then another class of people the second day, and it was just like after the first day, I remember coming back home and I was like tired, like I was sore. Like that was the first time I was like, I don't get this sore from my workouts when I'm like
Wow.
training to compete, but like it's like you're doing all, and you're constantly moving because they're constantly coming up to this platform like one after the other.
Okay.
And when they get it, it's great because people like cheering them on, like everybody's
Mhm.
cheering them on when they get it. And they're encouraging them to get it, but when they fail at it and the weight starts to like go the opposite direction, it's like,
Mm.
no, we got, all you listen for is like catch it or take it, and you got to get it off of them, or else injuries can occur, and so we're not trying to have that. So
Right. Oh wow. I
so
imagine. I guess you're making a whole new world of friends, or
yeah.
in this from your academic life.
Yeah, I mean it's pretty cool because it's a good balance because I have my colleagues that I work with academically and that I see throughout the year, but then when I go to the gym or when I go to these different functions, I see these other group of people that I've met,
Mhm.
and so it's kind of refreshing as well too, because then it's like I don't get to talk with them about work. I get to talk with them
Right.
about just like what new shows are on Netflix, or what types of different anime are out now that I'm catching up with, or
Uh,
did I see the basketball game, or did I see the fight last night, or whatever the case may
right.
be. And so it's a different vibe. So
Yeah.
I'm here for it.
All right. Now over here we have somebody special right here with you.
Right, right.
This is your fiance.
That is my fiance.
Yeah.
That was us at, let me see. That was us at I'm trying to look at the medals. That was us at Utah. So we were
Okay.
in Salt Lake City, Utah. Um, and that was in, I think, March or April. That was in April of last year. And so it wasn't cold, but yeah, you can see how lean I am in that photo there. That was literally right out as we stepped off stage, for that, still tanned and everything. So, yeah, that was a fun time. And again, he's been to every one of my competitions, and he's always there when I'm doing my posing routines and everything and practicing those. He's there for
Yeah.
it. But yeah, it's a cool thing, and we've gotten to travel a lot of places because of that. Lake Tahoe, Milwaukee, Utah, and then the next show I'm doing will be in Pittsburgh in late July.
Oh, cool. Now, what I was thinking was that your fiance gets to. It's almost like he gets to sleep with several different men because you have all these different versions of yourself. Your these physical versions of yourself. Like you have that version, the bodybuilder version, the midpoint version, the back bulking version. So he gets like a a cornucopia of like just versions of you. How fun for him! All right,
Yeah.
so now you have your Savage Libra brand. I'm a Libra too, so I guess if I get fit, I
Okay.
could be a Savage Libra someday.
Hey,
So who is this gentleman here with you here? With
so
the
this
brand?
is this is Jay Garcia, and he owns a series of supplement stores in the Inland Empire, or what we call like the San Bernardino, Riverside County areas.
Okay.
And so when we first got the nutrition supplement thing off the ground, and a little bit of backstory on that. So after I did my first contest in Tahoe, they had like the vendors and everything, and everybody was kind of selling their things. And I saw some supplement companies, and I had it was being advertised by this pro bodybuilder who I had met because they live in Southern California. And
Hmm.
so, but a lot of pro bodybuilders advertise supplements that they don't really use.
Hmm.
It's just the advertising dollars, which, no hate there. I mean, that's part of the game.
Right.
You
Right.
have this look and you're trying to promote a product. That doesn't mean that the supplements don't work. It's just that, they're trying to go for a certain look, like, hey, if you buy this product, then you too can look like,
Right.
this individual.
Yeah.
When that individual, their full-time job is going to the gym several times a day, eating at specific points in the day. Everything is scheduled like clockwork for them.
Right.
And so I got the idea to look into starting a supplement company of things that I actually use. And so the products that I sell on Savage Libra Fitness are things that I use in my own like workouts. So the protein, the pre-workouts, the multivitamins, um, the joint support, especially the joint support. Um, any of those products, I actually use them myself, and that's what I tell people. And if you follow me on Instagram or TikTok, then there are pictures and videos of me, like, I will start a workout like, okay, pre-workout scoop, shake, drink down, and then go at it.
Mm-hmm.
um you know just because I want to keep that, I don't want to use the word integrity, but I want to keep that scope of, like, I'm putting a product out there that I trust my own body with.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so you all should be able to do the same. And again, that's no shade to any of the other, products out there, because before I started my own supplement brand, I did use a lot of those other products.
Mm-hmm.
So, but as you grow in the industry, you learn different things. And so,
Right.
I learned what worked for me, and then I learned what, people who I know work out like, don't like. When people
Mm-hmm.
take pre-workout, some people don't like that tingly feeling that you get when you
Yeah,
take
yeah.
it. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
but so for example, mine doesn't have that ingredient that gives you that tingling feeling, but
Okay.
it gives you the focus and the pump, which is pretty much what you want a pre-workout for
Right.
anyway, and it lasts throughout the workout instead of you just getting this, blood flow high for like 30 minutes, and then after that it kind of just like tapers away.
Mm.
So it's one of those things to look at. But yeah, so we decided to go in store like shortly before the pandemic like really really took off,
Mm-hmm.
and he was the first store that picked up my product
Wow.
in the
Wow.
IE. So, and it was cool because he was like a black man who had this fitness industry, because you don't meet a lot of brothers who own like
Mm.
nutrition stores, much less a
Yeah,
gym. And
yeah.
so, and he was a former bodybuilder himself. And
Mm-hmm.
so he was like, hey, you know what? Just let me start with some samples of your product. Let me see like what it's about. And then like 3 weeks later, I came back. He said, okay, so I want this, 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 and this.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, cool. And so he paid me for the order, and then I got it from the warehouse. And then 2 weeks later, it was sitting in his store, like for sale.
Wow. Uh,
So I was like, man, that's crazy.
that's so now. So I wasn't kidding y'all when I said entrepreneur, doctor, this and the that and the third. How are you balancing all these things, all these roles in your life right now?
Um, a lot of times it's by automation. So I've gotten to the point to where the store pretty much runs itself.
Mm-hmm.
If I do anything physically, it's a vendor show where I'll take some products to like a gym. I think that's me at the LA Fitness here in one of the LA Fitnesses here in Southern California. And they'll
Mm-hmm.
have vendor events. So I just bring my supplements there, and people walk in, they ask what you want, and then I have like my BCAAs in a picture already made, so I can give people like a cup of those, and then some things of that sort, and then they just buy them from me right then until I run out of supply, and then when I run out, they can order them online.
All right.
So everything is
So
automated.
well, that is so cool. That's so cool, Nick. Um, now everyone, you can find Nick on, as he said, on Instagram and on TikTok. We better get off here. My internet is talking to me. At Savage Libra Fitness, and the website is savagelibrafitness.com, right?
Right,
Well, we can order, and I saw that he has 4XL, up to 4XL in his sweatshirts.
right.
I did see that. So if y'all want to get some swag, he has sweatshirts and T-shirts. I did see that, as well as the other fitness things he was talking about there. Yeah, yeah, there you go. I gotta get mine. I'm gonna be ordering mine.
Okay, okay.
Uh, I sure will. Well, Nick, thank you so much for being on the podcast. It has been a
Thanks for having me,
pleasure.
man.
I hope that we've inspired someone. I've actually been inspired. I'm gonna try to get over myself and my I suffer a lot from, like, you've tried something so many times, and you fail so many times. You just sometimes it's just hard to get over yourself. But I'm doing it. I'm actually doing it. But but I could do more. I could do better. I'm gonna have to talk, I'm gonna have to sign up for that training on the website.
Go
There,
for it. Go
you
for it.
So thank y'all for listening to the Soulful Cream podcast, and I'll see y'all next time. Bye.